Welcome back to Ebony People TV, where we break down the stories that matter, especially when they touch the lives of Ndi Igbo and Nigerians at large. Now, something serious just went down in the US, and yes, it involves our very own Nnamdi Kanu. So grab your drink, take a seat, and let me gist you what's been cooking on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. So, two powerful Igbo groups in the US, the American Veterans of Igbo Descent, aka AVID, and Rising Sun and Ambassadors for Self-Defense, took a bold step recently. These guys did not just make noise online. They marched straight to Capitol Hill, the very heart of US Congress, to lobby for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. These groups met face-to-face with US congressmen to push for Kanu's freedom and raise alarm about what's really happening in Nigeria. According to Dr. Sylvester Onya, the president of AVID, the visit wasn't just about Kanu.
My name is Dr. Sylvester Onya, president of American Military Veterans of Igbo Descent, AVID. I'm here today with Rising Sons and Ambassadors for Self-Determination. We're in the state capitol to bring our concerns to the American folks that Nnamdi Kanu needs to be released now. A lot of people have talked about him being unjustly incarcerated for nothing. He is not the problem of Nigeria. If anything, he is the solution to solve Nigerian problems. We're asking President Tinubu, just like we asked President Buhari, that got him in the first place, to release him. They have not done anything to anybody.
They also urged Donald Trump to put Nigeria back on the list of countries of particular concern, a title Nigeria used to hold under Trump's first term, but was removed when Biden took over. And why is that? Because of the rising killings and human rights abuses happening back home. So, what's this country of particular concern title about? Basically, it's Africa's way of saying, we are watching you, especially when there's religious persecution, genocide, or mass killings going on in a country. And according to the AVID group, Nigeria deserves to be back on that list because of the rising violence from bandits and herdsmen. Dr. Onya didn't just hold back. He reminded everyone about how back in 2017, 27 unarmed Biafran supporters were gunned down in Port Harcourt just because they were celebrating Trump's inauguration. And since then, things have only gotten worse.
On this note, we are reminding the world about what happened in January 2017, when inauguration of Donald Trump was celebrated in Port Harcourt, and the Nigerian government shut down and killed over 27 young youths of Igbo descent, IPOB young stars, for doing nothing but cheering up the president of their choice. This happened and nobody have been brought to account for that.
Now let's talk about Nnamdi Kanu himself. The delegation made it very clear that the IPOB leader isn't Nigeria's problem. He might actually be part of the solution. They said he's been in solitary confinement since 2021 after being adopted in Kenya and brought back to Nigeria through what they called extraordinary rendition, basically against all international rules. His international lawyer, Bruce Fein, was there too. He also didn't mince words, calling Nigeria a failed state after the DSS boss himself told Nigerians to start defending themselves. Imagine that. The top intelligence chief telling you to go and fend for yourself. What then is the job of government? And this is where things get really scarier. He warned that if nothing is done to stop these violence groups, they'll start taking over the oil fields in the southeast. Imagine bandits holding crude oil wells and shaking hands with international oil companies. John Gregg, an American member of the group who's lived in Nigeria for over 20 years, drops a chilling statistic. He said over 40,000 Nigerians, mostly Christians, have either been killed, raped, displaced, or suffered one kind of violence or the other in just 9 years. That's almost a stadium full of people gone just like that. And you know what else he said? If the US doesn't act fast, the Southeast might implode and send waves of migrants running to America for refuge. A humanitarian crisis is looming. They did not just stop there at the international level. They also had a message for our own people back home. According to them, Southeast governors need to wake up. Like now. Every community needs its own well-equipped vigilante group, and not just anyhow, We are talking about serious local defense units that can protect lives and land. Because, let's face it, the government has clearly failed in that department. So there you have it, my people. Our Igbo brothers and sisters in the US are not sleeping. They're out there fighting with everything they've got to make sure Nnamdi Kanu is released and that justice is done for the people of Nigeria. But now is the big question. Will the US actually listen? Will Nigeria finally do the right thing and stop the madness? Or are we still going to pretend everything is fine while the country burns? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Let's talk about this. Is Kanu truly part of the solution? Should the US step in? And what can we do at the community level to protect ourselves?
That you're holding Nnamdi Kanu for. And we believe, as a British citizen, the British government's hand is in it, because Nnamdi was discussing about the atrocities they're doing in Nigeria. They don't want any development in Nigeria. Everything that we are doing is what Nnamdi was preaching on, and everything he have said before have happened today, and it's still happening. The jihadis coming in to work for the British government and to be killing people, the Fulani herdsmen, the terrorists, and that's what they are, killing people, trying to displace indigenous people, trying to take their lands from them, land grabbing. We want the world to look into it, more especially the United States government. For one thing, if nothing is done, once these jihadis get hold of the southeast, the Christians that they're trying to exterminate, they will have hold of the sweet crew. And once that happens, the next thing will be to challenge the United States and even the Britain that is encouraging them to do their bad deeds.
Bruce, what can be done to the government of Nigeria to help free Mazi Kanu?
Well, there are several precedents. One, during apartheid, South Africa was suspended from the United Nations General Assembly until Nelson Mandela was released. And there's nothing that prevents petitions now to the United Nations General Assembly insisting that Nigeria be suspended until they release Nnamdi Kanu. That's one possibility. Another would be if you had the president issue an executive order says there are going to be no Nigerian visas to visit the U.S. until Nnamdi Kanu is released. That would impress upon all Nigerians the penalty they're paying because the government is being so lawless and tyrannical. There are other options like having an international arms embargo on Nigeria until Nnamdi Kanu is released, having very, very high tariffs on anything sold by Nigeria until Nnamdi Kanu is released. These are financial pressures. They've been utilized in other countries in the past. It's a matter of political will, not law.
Chief Ugonna, how do the attacks on the Christian community and the continued injustice faced by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu serve as a serious warning sign for all Nigerians about the state of justice and freedom in the country?
You know, that's an excellent question, and thank you for posing that. I want to tell you a short story. I've been going to the region for 20 years. And the first 10 years that I was there, it was quite peaceful, at least in the southeast. Some of this was brewing already in the north, but in the southeast and the spaces where I was at with the Igbo, quite frankly, was fairly peaceful. And then, right around the time actually when they put Mazi Nnamdi Kanu under chains, things blew up. And more than that, I think when people in the villages and the boroughs of southeast Nigeria look at this,